Okay, good evening, Brother Moore. How are you this evening?
I'm doing good, I think. At my age, I think I'm doing good.
You are. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Just a couple of questions about you and our organization, Phi Beta Sigma.
Okay.
Tell us about your early life and your entrance into college and what first drew you to Phi Beta Sigma.
My early life, you don't want my early life. That would take a half an hour.
We got time. Go ahead.
No, you really don't. And I won't give it to you now. At least if you some questions later on, I'll give it to you. But I will say that I was born in Georgia, and I went through the service in World War II. That was the early life. I graduated from high school in a place called Ocilla, Georgia, valedictorian of the class.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to embark in this long story about the Tuskegee Airmen because that would take about half an hour. But I will say that I tried to become a Tuskegee Airman when I graduated in 1940, and they weren't taking any Negroes, and so I decided I was going, rather than be drafted in the United States Army. I was almost 21. I was going to leave this country. Now that's very startling, but that was my mindset about racism in the 40s. I just couldn't can't deal with it ever. And so I was on my way out of this country, and I got as far as New Jersey, where my peers, my sister and brother, they had migrated from Georgia. And I didn't get any further because my sister Molly, there's a picture up there. God rest her soul. She kept me there. She says, I just don't want you to leave now. And I wasn't thinking about the draft, but unfortunately, I was not there long enough to get a job before I was drafted almost in Newark. And sent to Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Oh, right over there, okay.
Right over Fort Dix, New Jersey. Now, all of my acquaintances where we were living was in an Italian neighborhood, and so I hadn't met up with any of the black youngsters there in Newark. All of my friends were Italian, and we got on this bus going out to Fort Dix. Recruits in civilian clothes. And this was September 1942. Did I say I graduated from high school in 1940? So I hadn't been in Newark. September 1942, and got to Fort Dix, and there was two corporals, one white, one black, and one black corporal, white corporal was across the street. As we got off the bus, there were about 20 of us that knew each other from Newark, and they didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew what was going to happen. I didn't see them anymore. They called out the names. All of the names I called go across to the corporal, and those guys went over to the white corporal. I never saw them again, and I ended up drafted in the United States Army against my will. On my way out of this country, not a deserter, but I was just going to legitimately leave before I was drafted. I was stuck here. Okay, so now I was fortunate though, in that I ended up at Fort Dix. I guess we stayed there about a week and a half, 2 weeks, just marching back and forth. There's a reception center. They're deciding where they're going to take us, and they're calling some going, taking them to the infantry, and then the other places segregated the infantry, segregated whatever it was. But they called me, and along with about 250 of us from New York, and in just that area, they called us to go to Lincoln Air Force Technical Training School.
Oh,
No, it wasn't. No, that was. I'm ahead of myself. They called us to go to Bucklerfield, Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Which was murder. So, and what is this? This is 86 Aviation Squadron. Okay, we're going to be concerned with airplanes or something like that. Yes, we stopped in Chicago. The train. That's the first time I got on an overnight train, except for coming up from Georgia. I rode the bus all the way, a segregated bus up to Washington, and you transfer in Washington, and then you have a chance now. You don't have to sit in the back of the bus. That story was rough. I've just had it all the way. It seems when I came up to Washington, I want to tell you about this. When I got to Washington, I said, now a chance to sit in the front of the bus for the first time in my life. I stepped up onto the bus from Washington, change bus, Washington going to Newark, and I looked at it. was standing room on the. So I stood right next to the driver all the way from Washington, D.C. to Newark. Now, going back to Fort Dix and Buckley Field, Colorado. I'm skipping a lot of stuff here. Got to Buckley Field, Colorado. There about 250 of us formed what is called the 86 Aviation Squadron. That's where they actually put blacks in those days to just work battalions. That's all they were. All we did while we were there in September 1942 was to go out to the bomb sites and pick up the loose cartridges and things like that. Of course, I never did do much of that because I volunteered to box, I volunteered to play, I was a trumpet player, I volunteered
really?
to do everything else under the sun.
Okay.
And then I found that there was a test for a test. Now, this was in 1942. I had tried to get in the United States Army Air Corps in 1940. 1942, there was a test came up that I could take, and Aviation Cadet. I said, what? I took it. Long story short, I passed in 92, waiting for a class. Class never showed up. Class never came up. Only class could come up was at Tuskegee, Alabama. I hadn't passed the physical, but physical I had 20/20 vision. That's the only thing wrong with me now. It was absolutely some short eyesight. So I'm just waiting for this class, In September 1945, I mean, yes, 45. December 1945, nothing could come through, and then there was a test to, is this too long?
No, we'll how fast forward you keep going.
I'm skipping a lot. Well, that was a test came up to these were all white officers. There were about 4 or 5 white officers in this aviation squadron, and they were very kind and were very reasoned, and they knew what was happening. They knew we were segregated. We were located about a half a mile from the center of the base, and the only duty I have had while I was there, and I tried to get out of that, was to police the area. You know what that means? They gave me a stick with a needle on it, and to go up to the commander's office one day, commander's site in the middle of the base, and pick up paper. Yeah, I was. When I knew how to solve quadratic equations, listen, I knew early calculus. My mother in Georgia, don't tell me, she had helped to teach me, and those teachers were very good in that school. And they taught me physics, and early physics, yes, it's general physics, and chemistry. I almost set the lab on fire. But anyway, I knew all of this stuff. How could I make 94? I made 94 on that test. Aviation Cadet test, and I'm waiting to go to Tuskegee. And I found out later on that wasn't so smart. Though. Some of those guys made 100. They zapped it.
Wow.
But they were college graduates. See, I was just out of high school. Well, anyway, I'm figuring out how now I can get out of this labor battalion. Of course, these officers are very nice and good, and any chance to do anything that comes up, they let you know. And I almost went to OCS because I had the aptitude. I turned it down.
Oh, you did?
I saw what was happening. I did not want to be the adjutant in an all-black work battalion. That's all it was. They come home with these bars and all this spit and polish. That's all they are. And all the other officers are above them. That's what it was in 1945. I don't know what it was before then. I knew what it was before then. And up until then, ask anybody, that is the truth. They would take one black officer and put him there, and he's actually the pusher of the workers. That was not for me. I said, I'm going to fly planes. I'm going to fly ever since I was in Osceola, Georgia.
So how can you come
I saw those grasshoppers flying out there, all white guys flying and not too far from me, and every time they came near Osceola, Fitzgerald, anywhere down there, and landed on the field, they always landed out on somebody's farm. I was there. And I tried to get in the United States Army Air Corps. They said, we have nowhere for Negroes in 1940. That's why I was on my way out of this country. I said, I've had it. You know, I don't take injustice so easy.
We know.
All right.
You
That's part of me. On either side, black and white, I don't take that. And so, well, anyway, here was a chance now to take another test. I'm waiting to go to the class down to Tuskegee, and didn't open up. The quota system it was running, it was really operating.